let's do this. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, back to another edition of the Eber Farmer Cigar. Beer down. Luckily, it's closed. Garage Talks. We're in the garage because it's later at night than I wanted to get out. My illustrious wife, who's here, say hello.
Hello.
He's dealing with politics. Oh, it's politics.
Oh, you said we were going to do reunion.
No, I'm just saying why it's so late and we're in the garage instead of on the deck.
Oh, that's why.
Because the sun has definitely set.
Oh, that's why.
We'll show you the nasty. We'll show you the nasty garage. You see the garbage that's got to go out tomorrow. There you go. But it's dark as dark can be. Back out in the garage tonight. No, it's not. We're talking about politics specifically. Well, I mean, granted, that'll come up. We're going to talk about something else that is politic-lating. So, what are we smoking? What are we drinking? It's back. I finally got another one in a sampler pack. Cerberus from Guardian of the Farm. It's actually a beautiful band. I don't know if you got to see it.
That's the three-headed dog.
Cerberus.
Yeah, Cerberus.
Yeah, Cerberus. The Guardian of the Farm. Why it's called the Guardian? The Guardian of the Farm, I believe, is a cigar company.
Oh, okay, because, yeah, he's not the guardian of the farm.
It may not be, well, Argentina's. Orsa. I'm not sure. Can't speak Spanish.
I don't know.
Definitely enjoyed this cigar last time. Love the name. Love the artwork. I'm getting attacked by flies. For the drink tonight, an oatmeal stout from Schlafly.
Shapely?
Schlafly.
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 Okay, I'm not even going to try.
Yeah, it's not just me who can't pronounce that crap.
Okay, in my defense, I really did drink that mudslide quickly. So quickly that it's not even here.
Sad. I tried to get her to have another one, or we do have a Skinny Girl tequila.
Okay, but you cannot mix a tequila that's sour with a smooth mudslide.
You have it. It's very good for the stomach.
No, it is not good for the stomach.
The mudslide one with the milk calms the stomach down.
15 years ago, maybe. Now, no.
You've done it before. I like when you do it nice dark. Oatmeal stout. Both of which I think we've actually had before. You want to step on that earwig that runs by you?
It's a flying bug.
Why don't you step on it?
I'm working on it.
You didn't have to.
You gotta be persnickety. It's just a little bug and it's a garage.
That's connected to the house. So what did you want to talk about? I gave you a couple of talking options,
I
including
thought you were going to talk about your reunion.
My reunion or high school in general, because
Either one's fine, I guess. But
we can talk about my reunion. I did share the how to deal with a bully after you graduate story.
Oh yeah.
That may or may not have actually happened. It may or may not be from me. It may or may not. It may be a total work of fiction. Just to put that disclaimer in there again. Check that video out. It's a couple weeks back. It's kind of fun. If you've ever been bullied, you would definitely fantasize about this opportunity if it ever presented itself. But we'll leave that as kind of a
teaser?
A teaser for things to come. So, I went to my 20-year high school reunion. Your 20-year high school reunion is coming up.
Yep.
Have you made up your mind yet? Are we going to go, or are we going to have
that's that weekend. I don't think that'd be wise. It's like 3 days after. So no, I don't think I'm going to go.
But even before that other thing that's coming up.
Yeah, even before that, I was kind of leaning towards no. I would like to go down and visit the few people I've stayed in touch with.
You kind of wanted to make your own.
Yeah, like
your own reunion.
Do a reunion. One, it's really expensive. My reunion, it's $75 for the main event for one ticket, so it'd be $150 just for the two of us to go. And most of the people I know from high school are not attending.
Yeah.
That I know personally, really well. Okay, so it was a big graduating class. I didn't know everybody. So I don't really, feel a desire to go. If some of my good friends were going, I think I'd be like, yeah, let's go. But the people I've kept in touch with are all like, I don't know. Maybe not. I don't think so.
Well, I remember, maybe the best way of putting it, we had, I knew a lot of guys actually the year ahead of me. And I asked them if they were going to their reunion, and they were like, we have a reunion every weekend when we all go out to the bar and we see the people we know because we all drink together, have drank together since high school. So it did kind of like you maybe wanted to make your own quote unquote reunion.
Yeah, I'd love to go down and see like my best friend who I've been best friends with for going on like 30 years, and I'd like to see like
Your ex-boyfriends.
no, not really. A couple of my other friends like
Well, one's an ex-boyfriend, one's a good friend who.
yeah. Well, I also have a couple of female friends I'd enjoy seeing that I keep up with through Facebook, but like I have no desire to like do the thing kind of thing, you know, like and it's like formal affair. They've rented out this really formal location, and it's like, you know, I'm 38. I don't want to go to prom again.
Right.
So no, thank you.
What is an interesting stark contrast? Yours is $150 for the two of us, where we went and the first night drinks were all free.
Yeah, like
At
we
the first
didn't pay
event,
a
we didn't pay a
dime.
dime for all the drinks, and we did
And the food.
Mm-hmm.
We didn't pay anything. Somebody else paid for everything.
Yeah.
Actually, we went to pay and it was paid.
It was paid. We left a really good tip for the waitress, as you should if someone pays for your crap. Then the next night was
Although
again.
afterwards, I regretted not ordering more drinks.
This is true. I think that's why a couple of people found out and then stayed, because they found out someone else was
Footing the bill. Yeah.
footing the bill. The one guy we connected up with, I think that's why, because he was gonna yeet out of there before we did,
Oh, maybe.
and then he was like, "Well, maybe I'll stay just a little bit longer."
Could be.
And then the second event, we had a picnic, which again, all the food and stuff ended up being
Donated. I mean, we brought a little bit, but
I don't think we were supposed to. I actually, after like looking at the spread, I'm like, "Ooh, this is kind of out of place." Like,
yeah.
I don't think this
Yeah.
one
Well,
of
and
these
then
things
we
aren't
went to,
quite like the other.
Yeah. Yeah, whereas mine is like they tour the school, they've got that scheduled, which I think costs money. They have a family football game, but I think we have to pay to use the field. And then, of course, they have a formal event. And I'm like, ah.
Now, don't get me wrong, the last night, the Saturday night, we went out to dinner.
Yeah, that was expensive.
That was expensive. Pretty shitty food.
Yeah, that wasn't worth it.
Not gonna lie, the drinks were pretty crappy as well.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah, but you should always go with like something simple, like a rum and coke in that situation.
they had a drink named after our
I
graduating
know,
class.
but
You
when
had
it
to
looks
try
that
it.
frou-frou, even from somebody who
It
likes
was-
frou-frou drinks,
was
you don't
pretty-
try that shit.
It was pretty bad, but I think if I didn't get it, I would have chastised myself for not.
Maybe. Yeah, no. So, no, I don't think, like, I've kind of come to the determination that I'd like to make a trip down to where my high school was and visit some people. Unfortunately, that might not happen because that's kind of an awkward time, and
Do something crazy and just leave this weekend.
yeah, I suppose. We'll see. Yeah, I don't know.
Although we missed a couple of farmers markets, and the market manager, we missed a bunch of Saturdays. We had kids at camp, and
Yeah, the kids were at
we had some
camp, we were at
projects to
VBS,
do, and-
you had your reunion, so we went like 3 weeks or something missing. And so I take care of 2 of the markets, but you take care of one of them, and so like I communicated that we would not be there.
well, and this one's a
At these
bigger
2.
market, so I mean, I didn't
We
like
kind of get lost in the shuffle.
the smaller ones. They get like very nervous if you don't make it.
Yeah.
Like they really wonder something. Although I have to admit, they were not the only one who thought we had died.
No?
No. So, what's his name who we talked about earlier? I won't say his name out loud here. I missed like 2 weeks worth of text messages and IMs from him because we were just going everywhere. And then he's like, he said, he's like, I had the biggest sigh of relief when you were tagged in your reunion photo. Because he's like, I thought you guys were dead. He's like, you've never went more than like 24 hours without responding to me, and now it's been 2 weeks. He's
I
like,
don't know who you're talking about right now.
the gentleman.
Oh.
He thought I was dead. he
Yeah.
legit thought that I had died, my whole family had died, or something, because he's like, you usually don't go more than like.
Well, you know, if something happened to you, like there are some of your friends that like I don't have like connection with that they probably would know.
Right.
Just like I don't think all my friends would find out right away. So
No, there'll definitely be a handful of people who.
would totally go like unaware for a while. So yeah, anyway, no, I don't think I want to go to my reunion. I do want to go down, but whether we go down before or after that, the middle of the month, I don't know.
Yeah, that'd be
I like
tricky.
the idea of going down after because there's a lot of fun stuff to see and do.
Well, and I think a lot of people down there would appreciate us going a little bit later in the month, shall we say.
Yeah, but there are some complications with that.
Mm-hmm.
So anyway, without giving too much away there. So I don't know.
They can't see your hands, so you didn't see the.
Yeah, I know. Without
Yeah, I
giving
got
too much
that.
Anyway, so yeah, I don't know. I would like to go down and see some people, but I mean, that's partially just because I think it has been 6 years. 6 years since we've been down there.
It's got to be more than that.
No,
Easily.
no,
Easily.
because I kept the baby with me while you guys went to stuff 6 years ago when we stayed with our friends in Jackson. And then I ran the booth in Lansing at the homeschooling convention for HSLDA. So it was 6 years because I had the baby with me. And he was maybe 6 months old. 'Cause I was
Really?
like, yep.
Alright.
So it's been 6 years since we've been
Well, you
down
can
there.
wait. That's fine.
Right. So it's been 6 years, so like, I don't know. I feel like I do want to go down. And when a couple of times when we've gone down, we haven't gone down that far, or like we haven't been able to see everybody.
Well, yeah, the number of times is very purpose driven. Like we
Yeah,
had
I think the last time I
mission-specific.
visited actual family from
Yeah.
there was like when
Like
Swedish
3
Compass
kids ago.
was a baby.
3,
Yeah.
4 kids ago.
Yeah, so like they see our kids on Facebook, and maybe if they make a trip up here randomly, they might have met them. But like, yeah, there's a lot of people who haven't seen all the kids, or at least not in some time. I don't think a lot of our friends have even met our youngest.
I'm trying to think how many. Because one of the things we talked about at our reunion was we have a ton of kids compared to everyone. We were the second largest
Yeah.
family to show. We were one of the youngest to get. Well, we were the youngest to get started having kids.
Yes, I noticed that a lot of the people at your reunion, like they had kids who were like.
Like
fairy
Wild and Free
dancers
Wolf
their
to fairy
age
dancer
was like
and-
their oldest, so 8-10 years old, whereas we have a 16-year-old and our baby is 4, and some of them had like what appeared to be like a 1.5-year-old kid.
Mind you, they're all like 38 now, 38 to
Yeah,
40.
they're all 38 to 40, and I was like, oh wow.
Well, and
And don't get me wrong, like
now, to
know.
be fair, we talked about this, actually, someone pulled me aside because I was asking, I was like, oh man, okay, I got the second biggest family of the people who show. I was like, God, I have the oldest child, like 16. They're like, yeah.
Well, I don't
Some of those people, though, who have older kids than yours, didn't exactly show up to the.
Yeah,
All right,
I
fair
got
enough.
that impression.
Fair
Like
enough.
there were a couple that have older teens, like
Yeah.
18, 20
Well,
year olds.
there's some that have 22-year-olds.
Yeah,
we
there's
talked
a
about
couple that
that.
look like they had their kid at 16, 18 years old. So, yeah, all right. There's a couple that could be grandparents already.
There are a couple who are probably our grandparents,
But,
knowing them. Oh yeah, we did talk about that slightly. That there were some people who graduated with us, but like, don't you remember they had like they walked with their child who was walking? I was like, oh shit, I forgot all about that. That not as many as probably in your graduating class.
right? Yeah, there's a lot of babies at my graduation. But I don't know. Like, I see that's the hard part. So my graduating class was 350 or some crap like that. It might have been 380 people. And I was towards the end walking, and I kid you not, like, I didn't know anybody. I walked around. There were hundreds of us. And
See, which is hilarious because the 2 people I walked around, I've had lockers next to since like
oh my goodness.
6th grade.
No, like I met these people the day that we did graduation practice, like practicing
Yeah.
walking down the aisle and everything.
I had 110, I think it was 110 or 108 who graduated with
I
me.
don't know.
It might have been less than, it might have been 98. I think there were 110 who were supposed to graduate, but some of those ones were.
I don't know, because there were what, 20 there? Maybe 30?
I think 30 different people showed up throughout. I mean, I don't think we had 30 at any given event, but I think total we had at least 30 who showed.
Okay, that's not fair. At the family event, you definitely had more than 30, but you only had 30 of those students. Yeah.
I think there's only still 20 of them who came to the family picnic, which was awesome.
I think ours is like, I don't know, I'd have to look it up. Because they make you RSV and you have to buy your tickets beforehand and stuff. And there's actually quite a few people going, but I don't know, like, there's a lot I didn't, like, I don't know a lot of the people, and honestly, I didn't have a bad high school experience, but I wasn't, like, friends with a lot of people.
Well, I mean, 350 people, how many people can you be? Like, even to just say hello to even half of them would have taken you all day.
Yeah, right? Like, no. I maybe have, like, 5 to 10 good friends from high school. And I say good friends because I know about them. Not good friends like I've kept in close touch with them. The ones I've kept in close touch with are like 3.
And to be fair, I can't boast any better than that.
No.
I mean,
well, but you still have friends that graduated a year or two before you.
Yeah, I got those friends.
I don't have those.
Fair enough. But I mean, people who I actually graduated with, I think out of everyone, maybe there was 5 who I've talked to since graduation.
Yeah.
Not including other reunions or just a real quick, like, we had one of our classmates sent a bunch of, like, campaign emails out to his class. Hey, support me for this. I'm like,
All right. Well,
but,
I wish I'd known. My class has a reunion every 5 years, though. It's ridiculous. Like,
Houghton High School has a reunion every year. They have the alumni's reunion.
But that makes sense. Like, a lot of schools do that. I'm pretty sure mine does
We've never been invited. Our class has never been. Because
you're just the rotten young whippersnappers.
I guess we're just little a-holes at 20-year reunion.
Right? Like, maybe you'll be invited now.
I guess. I hope so. That was awkward because
yours was really nice, though. Like, honestly, I didn't know any of the people there, but
they did a great job. I actually take the hats off to the 2 people who really stepped up and organized it. Like, that was. There were 2 who there was one guy who, like, everyone was like, why did he do this?
He was funny because he used a different name on Facebook, and everybody was like overwhelmed by that. That was hilarious, actually. I actually liked him a lot. He was fun.
He's a good guy.
And his wife was amazing. I like her a lot.
Yeah, you definitely connected with his wife.
She was probably the best person to chat with there. Honestly, I don't chat with people very well, though, so.
Yeah, true story.
So, yeah.
But, yeah, no, it was
It was a bit of awkwardness, but not terrible.
Not horrible. It was, I mean, there's still some of those, like, you could definitely tell there were some rivalries that people were not happy to see other people showing up, and it's like, oh my god, that happened in high school.
How did they get invited?
Yeah, I thought we.
But some of it wasn't. Like, there were a couple of those girls.
There
I don't
were
know if you saw that drama.
Yeah,
but
there were some that it was more.
It was more recent.
More
like,
recent.
They still have some. Like, they have hard feelings from high school, but they also have hard feelings from life.
Just life in general.
Life
I mean,
and recent.
A small town like this.
Yeah.
I mean, you talk about some of these people have families that go back to the founding of Houghton, so.
Right. No, thank you. I don't know. I think they did a nice job, though.
Oh, it was beautiful. It was absolutely beautiful, and it was, it was very well received, and they did.
You have to give credit to your dad for, like, not. Like, he got us a hotel room.
Well, we were supposed to stay with him, and then my brother kind of double booked, and.
Well, and
then we had some other issues happen, some sickness, and.
Your dad was a trooper.
He did.
He did awesome.
He got the hotel room, which we were going to get anyway. We were looking at that pretty hardcore, getting our own hotel room. With 6 kids, just so any of you are guessing, it is not a room when we go somewhere. It takes.
Yeah, it's a bit of an adventure. Plus, we had to take our dog this time, which I think this is the first time we've actually taken our dog.
We might have done it at a conference one time.
No, I think we took him, dropped him off at my parents, and went. I don't think
almost
he ever
positive he
went.
came to conference one time.
I'm pretty sure he's never come.
No, he did. He was. I remember it was the.
Because he ran away one of the times we left him.
It was the Super 8. It was the Super 8 hotel. We only had. Yeah. No, we took him one other time.
We might have
he
taken
came
a
with.
dog. I don't think we took our current dog.
I know we've taken a dog. I was pretty sure it's our current dog, but maybe not.
Anyway, so we don't normally take him for sure. And the poor thing, he doesn't do well in the car. Like he gets a bit jittery.
He gets farty.
Yeah, that too. And he doesn't eat well. He doesn't drink well. He has a hard time using the bathroom in a new place. Like, he's an amazing dog, great with the kids, does fine in the house, doesn't have any problems, doesn't chew on things. But man, he does not travel well. Like, it's not that he's bad, he just, like, he doesn't adjust and he seems to have some anxiety.
Well, he was a neglected, abandoned dog. So, I mean,
Yes.
anytime we go on a trip, even to your parents, who he seems to do really well with,
Yeah. He has some issues.
he has the issues.
I don't regret adopting him from the
Nope.
shelter. He is
He's a good dog, and
he's very
we
good.
had a lot of fun with him. So,
Yeah, so we took him with us this time, which that was a new experience for him, I think, and for us, like, but, so yeah,
never
it went
again
pretty
if we can
well.
avoid it.
It went, huh?
Never again if we can avoid it.
Right. But it went pretty well. He did a good job. The kids did really, really well. There was a few, like, okay, this is tough, but the pool and the setup at the hotel was nice. So,
Yeah, it was a nice hotel, very, very accommodating. Glad we got the one we did. And
so yeah, and it was fun. The kids got to see Grandpa. I think maybe they would have enjoyed seeing him a little bit more, but with everything going on and as busy as we were anyway, it was a really good deal. It was really, I think it went well. It was
It
fun.
did go well, yeah. And yeah, it was kind of fun. I kept trying to convince. I forgot a lot of the people who showed up were a little bit more of the prep year kids.
Yeah.
Because I kept trying to convince them we should break into the high school. You know, we know the principals like by first name. Some of these, you know, we've been drinking with some of them. Like, guys, why don't we just see if we can get a tour, like an ad hoc tour, like just call up.
Well, that's funny because my class scheduled the
Scheduled
tour.
it, which I don't think. I mean,
But I don't know. Did they make a bunch of big changes in yours? Because mine was, I guess, completely remodeled.
I doubt they made a ton.
Because ours had.
Well, we know they got all new carpeting.
Really. Ours didn't have
Oh,
carpeting.
you weren't there for that story?
No, ours didn't
One of
have
the guys
carpeting.
did the carpeting, and he
Oh.
actually found stuff that other students had hidden, like under carpets.
Oh, was that
and-
the guy who did all this stuff?
Yeah, did all those.
Okay, that makes sense because he was like a flooring guy. Yeah, no. Ours, I think they remodeled most of our high school. The outside stayed the same because, like, even the pictures, it looks the same. But like, I guess so. They used to have first, second, third, and fourth floor, and then they had A, B, C, and D floor, and they actually weren't connected. So, like, for students with special needs, you actually had to take elevators to get between like A floor and first floor, but it was like 6 steps between the 2 floors. So I don't know if they changed that or how they remodeled or changed things, but
Well, I would like to take our kids one of these times to both of our schools just to see. Here's what.
here's where the misery begins.
Here's where
I'm not-
we drove our kids around. I should have went in. I should have just knocked on the door. I'm pretty sure it was a secretary who was there. We should have just went in, knocked on the door.
I mean, it's
and
not
said
like they
hello.
haven't ever been in a public school. I've taken them
True.
for tours before.
I mean, it'd just be fun to show them around. Here's where Dad had class, and here's. I did a lot with the theater, so I'm even curious. We actually hid messages throughout the
You
theater.
know, it's so funny. You talk about your time with theaters quite a bit, actually, with the kids and stuff. And I didn't realize, like, I was thinking about it the other day, and there is not a play or a musical that I wasn't involved in at mine.
There you go.
But I didn't realize how involved I was. Like, I was always in the pit crew, so, like, I always played the music, or I was somehow connected to somebody in the play. And, like, I went to a ton of plays and musicals, but I didn't, like, think about that. Like, it wasn't, I think because I wasn't an actress. Like, it wasn't really my, I didn't want to be on stage.
I was on the crew, so I mean, we did. There was a lot of the behind the scenes stuff and troubleshooting
Yeah.
stuff, and I mean, you're given free range of tools and paints, and so we made secret compartments
Oh, no.
that like.
Well, see, we didn't make stuff like maybe our stage crew did. They probably did.
They probably
That's
did.
probably
That's a
did.
pretty big thing.
See, so our school, the city, and I don't know if I should list the name, but the city actually has an underground tunnel network that went from certain buildings like the school and stuff through like to the federal building and to some other like important sites, which years and years and years ago they were actually all connected underground, and you could walk through these underground tunnels to get to other buildings. And it was like to avoid the winter and to avoid the snow, but also just because it was safer. I'm assuming this was like during air raids and stuff when some of these tunnels were built, like in Europe.
That time.
So they probably built some of these underground tunnels. And so like our theater actually opened directly into a set of the tunnels. So a lot of the high school students and so some of the tunnels like directly underneath where the theater were actually used to store costumes.
Mm-hmm.
So like we had that. And then students I'm sure went further into the tunnels.
Yeah, I'm sure.
It wasn't really my thing. Because I really wasn't like in that part of the theater, like your pit crew, so you kind of just sit in that little
just sit in the
area
pit
in the
there.
front.
Yeah, I'm sure whoever's on your stage crew probably got into a lot of shenanigans with the tunnels. I mean, I know we did.
I have no doubt.
So one of the theaters we used to intern at was the Calumet Theater, which is one of the oldest theaters in the United States.
Yeah.
Beautiful, but they have a fly loft.
I don't think I've been to that one.
We drove past it. We didn't actually go into it. I pointed it out real quick in the snowstorm, the blizzard. One more time.
I think maybe I've been there to watch a play.
Oh, yep. You were.
With your best man actually. I think he was in a play or something about the wake.
No, it was my
the
brother.
Irish wake.
It was my brother.
Both were there.
Yeah, both were working it.
Was that in Calumet?
That was in Cali.
Oh, okay,
Yeah, that was in Cali.
Okay, so I did know that theater.
Yeah. Well, they had a fly loft, and we went back to the school, and we're like, wow, there is so much like awesome stuff you can do with the fly loft, but this theater was designed for musical concerts. It was not actually designed for plays.
Yeah.
And it just so happened they hired he was a history teacher. I want to say history. He was history.
No.
He wasn't English.
He was math, wasn't he?
No, I don't think so.
I think he was math because there were like a bunch of math.
I'd have to look it up.
It started with a G.
I'd
I
have
think
to
I'm
look
thinking
it up.
of the right
Yeah, you're
person.
thinking of the right. You know who it is, but I don't. I'd have to look that one up. I'm sure it's history. I never had him as a teacher.
No, I don't think it was history.
I'd have to look that shit up. But anyhow, he was also a really big into theater. He had been all over the country for sure, if not the world, performing in different plays. And so he started doing these plays, and I don't know. I think they still do plays. Maybe they don't anymore. Maybe they totally. Who knows?
Well, with
But-
COVID, a lot of stuff shut
Yeah,
down, so
I
it
know,
might
just-
be that they're just not doing
Um,
them until somebody takes it on.
It could be. But we actually convinced him to build a fly loft. And that's where me and another gentleman, we were really good with heights. We actually built a bunch. That's where some of the secret apartments I got to share with the kids.
Mm.
Because, I mean, it was never supposed to be a fly loft, but we did it, and it worked really well, and we actually will, you're right there.
Just between that and that.
I gotta turn this in. We'll turn this
I'm
light a
sorry.
little bit. That's
It's
fine.
just the light is.
It doesn't really affect the camera at all if I turn that light. So.
Sorry, it's just like right reflecting
got
on
it.
my glasses.
But yes, so we built a fly loft. I'm pretty sure it went after we left, the two of us, because it was pretty creepy actually. It was very sketchy how we built it. But
I don't know if there was one. So we had a big theater.
yours had to have one because it was
Well,
old enough.
Okay, we had two.
Yeah.
Okay, so we had one that we did a lot of the musicals, and oddly enough, like they did like SAT and ACT testing in that one. Because what it had were, I think we called them pods. So they actually had classrooms,
Mm-hmm.
but then the classrooms, they were on, I don't know what you'd call it, rollers or something. They would turn and the whole classroom would turn, and then it would be seating for the auditorium for the theater. So we had that theater, and then actually the junior high had a beautiful theater that some of the founding people from our city had actually paid to have it. It had gold leaf, like filigree all the way around. It was absolutely amazing. That's where they did our ninth grade graduation, I think, or 8th grade graduation when you move up to high school. And it was absolutely beautiful. And so that one we would go to, like, if outside people, like a lot of outside companies would come in. So like Stomp came one year, and I want to say like one of the Disney shows came, like a Beauty and the Beast or something like that, and showed there. So like a lot of our high school like events, we would go over to the, oddly enough, the middle school for those, because it was right across the street. But our own theater, which is where we did like plays and stuff, and like our shows were done. They were like in a separate building but connected to the high school, and there were classes taught in there. And I don't even know what classes were taught there. I don't think I ever took one there, except for driver's ed. Nice. For some reason, driver's ed was taught there, but they had awesome air conditioning. So.
Yeah, we're going to take a quick editing break here. We're not actually putting kids to bed, but it just makes my life easier in putting these videos together. So stand by. And we're right back, so my wife can't text the peoples, the political crap,
the drama,
the wrong drama club, if we will.
Every time I say drama, you know what I see? The guy from, oh goodness, what is that movie? It's the kids' movie with the superheroes. Incredibles. Drama. Money. Anyway, moving on.
Whatever is money. Yeah, so, yeah, our theater was specifically built, and there was actually a fight between our music director, who apparently, and this guy taught music for something insane, like 30 to 40 years he taught music.
It's a music teacher thing.
It is.
And they're just not ready to retire, because I think ours did it forever. And ours actually like switched schools. Yeah,
no doubt. And he actually started, so the school I went to was actually rebuilt. My sisters all went to a different high school.
Oh.
I was one of the first, or maybe my youngest sister was actually the first to go to the new school. It was like a 6-story, all sandstone. So you remember the city hall? Mm-hmm. That was the high school was built the same time. So it was all marble, like thick marble.
Why would
floor.
they get rid of that?
It became maintenance was just too. They actually did a few studies, and multiple studies confirmed it would be, what'd they say, 3 times cheaper to just build a new school than to redo everything that had to be redone. And that was during the ADA. So they're like, you have students who cannot attend, because there was no elevators, there was no ramps, there was no, and so there was a big to-do, and then they got a grant, and now to be fair, when they rebuilt the school, they did it great. I mean, they had top of the line
You had a really
labs.
nice cafeteria.
Yeah.
Ours was crap until our school started, like, burned down the cafeteria and stuff.
But as a part of that, the music director, so the old school actually had this epic, like Calumet's Theater. I mean, they're built at the same time. It was the same time frame, so it was epic for plays, but sucked apparently for musicals, especially with all the marble and sandstone. Like,
that would just echo and ricochet.
Oh my God! It just got horrific. So he actually, apparently, as the legend goes, he actually helped design the new theater to be a musical theater, because there was no plays. They had like small little, vaudeville type shows or 1-act plays. So yeah, our theater was designed top to bottom for music.
You know, that's really interesting. I think when we had most of our larger band shows, they were actually done in the middle school. The big, beautiful gold filigree one, and very few were actually done in the one connected to the high school. But we had a separate building for our music center. So we had,
which I did get to see because you took me there just after we got married.
yeah, I think our oldest was a baby because I think you actually met my band teacher. So we actually had a separate building, and inside the building we had, they had separate bathrooms. We actually had beautiful bathrooms in there. And then we had the band room, which was enormous. It was big enough for like a 200-piece orchestra or band symphony, wind ensemble. And then we had a similar room, but it actually had special tiles for singing, because we had a choir room. I was never in choir. I just didn't have the voice for it, really. I was in choir in middle school, but not in high school. And then we had another room that was a slightly smaller room that was for orchestra. So that's the stringed instruments and all that. And so this whole building, that's all it housed. So like all of our band equipment, like we had special lockers for our different instruments, and then there were practice rooms. So if you've been to a library college, or a college library, sorry, I said that backwards. If you've been to the college libraries and you see those study rooms, that they're not huge, but they have like glass doors or whatever, but they're soundproof, that's what our music building had. So if you were practicing a special solo, or if you were taking like, you know, okay, you guys go practice here, you guys go practice there, instead of having a bunch of noisy, like, okay, the brass is practicing in this part of the room, which would get confusing pretty quick. We actually had separate rooms to go to practice. So, like, we had these, it was really cool. And most of those practice rooms had their own piano. So, like, you know, you could have the accompaniment if you had, like, you know, you were practicing a solo. But a lot of our stuff was done in, I didn't even think that it was probably because of the way the building was built, the acoustics. But yeah, a lot of our performances were done in the middle school auditorium. I never thought of that. That's interesting.
Yeah, I know, because it was actually a nightmare to do anything that wasn't musical based, like any plays, because people talking, because the sound dampening, like,
probably didn't travel well.
It didn't.
We had
Well,
to have
even,
mics.
Yeah, even the so the bricks inside, instead of being a flat brick, they were the ones that kind of have the cut waves in them, specifically designed again. So when you're jamming out on your saxophone, it doesn't blast the eardrums of the first row. I mean, it was made top to bottom for band. But yeah, I remember we had a hell of a time. It was really interesting when we moved to. We'd have plays that would do it at our high school, and then we'd go up to the Calumet Theater. Like our actors specifically could just blow out the cheap seats because they were used to it. Like you had to project. And we didn't. We had some miking, but it was very, very limited.
I think we always had mics.
Yeah, we mic'd a little bit, but it was so limited.
Yeah, I don't think ours was that limited. But I think so. I don't think we had mics for the individual actors and actresses. What I think we had were like those hanging mics that were across different parts of the stage, and then the entire, like, I guess choreography of the stage was set around the fact that where the mics were, and we could move the mics, but like a lot of the choreography was based on that, because I had a couple, like we did Sound of Music, we did that one, and so funny story. When you're in the pit, you're actually down below the stage usually, and you step down into that. Well, so as a musician, I played in the French horn. I played in a lot of different like musicals, like every single one, because I always knew or had a good friend who was a great singer who was in the musical. So I was often in the pit crew and could just hang out with my friends then. But oh my goodness, I was performing a Mozart concerto solo, and it was for, I can't remember the name of the concert, but we do this concert once a year where everybody who wants to auditions, And if they play well enough, then we do like this 4-hour concert that is like, okay, you can play in a quartet, you can play as a soloist, you can play, but you have to audition, you have to get approved. So I was in a quintet, a quartet, and then I did a solo. Well, when I did the solo, so to make it dramatic, the person who had planned it had a piano sitting right down on the ground, and then I sat on the stage, and the only thing you could see was a single like light on me, so you couldn't see the pianist, the accompaniment. So I was playing, I finished my set, as you will, like I finished my solo, and it was a really complicated solo, using all your air. French horn takes a lot of air anyway. So as I'm walking off, I don't know what was on my brain, like it was dark and you couldn't see anything. I walked right into the pit and fell down, and it was terrible because I fell straight like 4 feet down. I'm not tall, like I'm not quite 5 feet tall, and I have a $3,000 French horn, beautiful instrument. And as I fall down, I remember, you know, you see those images of soldiers in Vietnam where they throw their arms up as they go down with their gun above their head. Like that's what I did with my French horn, but as quickly as I did that, I'm still short. And so it still hit, and it got really badly dented along the bottom. And my band teacher was just devastated, like, oh my gosh, are you okay? He was so worried about me. And I was like, the whole time I'm like holding the French horn above me, like, just take it, because I didn't want it to get worse. And he's like, I don't care about the horn. So he grabs it and he kind of like shoved it aside, which of course put a few more dents in it. And then he drags, like he pulls me. He's not much taller than I am. He drags me bodily out of there. And like I am limping so bad. My mom actually had to take me to the doctor because my whole body from like here, from like just shoulder, under my armpit, all the way down to below my knee was black. Like I bruised so bad. And my mom was like, I don't know why you would bruise. I don't know why you would bruise like this, because it was really bad. And then of course that's when we found out I had mono. Yeah. So my mom's like, you can't play. I'm like, I did not practice this. So I still played. So
we were doing The Mouse That Roared.
Okay.
And the whole thing was that, if you've never heard the play, it's this play where a bunch of guys from this like small European country, it turns out that California ends up like taking their name and making a cheaper wine because this place in Europe makes this very, it's like the creme de la creme, but their army invades the United States and they have bows and arrows against.
I've never seen this or
oh
heard
my god, it's hilarious.
It sounds really
and
funny.
It just so happens that like they land in the United States and they wage war against the U.S.
This really sounds a little bit like Red Dawn.
Oh my god, it's hilarious. But they're with bows and arrows against guys who have machine guns and nuclear bombs. And well, so the first person they try to take out ends up being like a Los Alamos researcher, and they get their hands on this next gen.
Oh my goodness.
So what happens is they threaten to like smash this bomb that if it goes off will take out like 3/4 of the United States. It's even Alamos, Los Alamos.
Was the atomic bomb? Okay.
So yeah, it was Fenwickian. Fenwickian was the name of the country.
Oh my god.
And the whole premise is they're the only people to defeat the U.S. and their only demands were they wanted like $2 million for damages and this California winery shut down. It's a hilarious play. So they have bows and arrows though. So I was talking to the director. I was like, well, you know, I'm actually really good at archery. I loved archery at that time. I was very good at it. I actually competed in archery. I was like, what do you think about me actually shooting at this guy? Like actually firing arrows in his direction. And the director loved it.
Seriously? Like that would never fly.
Right? So he loved, well, here's the crazy part. He loved it. He thought it was the coolest thing ever to have me, and I showed him my accuracy. Like he took me, he's like, oh, hey, before you do this, you got to prove to me, can you put, 10 rounds inside, like it was a little 3-inch paper plate, and nailed all 10. Like it was
10 rounds.
10 arrows, 10 bolts, whatever you want to call it. 10 arrows. We fired these arrows, and it looked great. Seeing these arrows, because I could fire them really quick. I think I fired, I want to say 6 in like a span of like a minute and a half. So he loved it. He thought it was the coolest thing ever, and like, oh my god, this is gonna be great. It's gonna look great. It did look great. We modified the arrows so they'd show up better. I modified my bow so it'd shoot slower, so it wasn't just like these really quick shots. They actually took a second to.
Mm-hmm.
So he is just loving it. Like, okay, but like I'm bringing a bow, like a hunting bow. This isn't just like some recurve. Now our school actually does teach archery. At the time, they taught archery to all the kids. Mm. And he's like, well, the gym is filled with these recurve bows, so you bring in your bow and use it, not a big deal. And like, we're amped. Like, the crew is just, we can't believe that we're going to be able to shoot bows. Now, I thought he had gotten permission for me to shoot, and he thought he didn't need permission. So opening night, we're sitting
That's got to be terrible, because that's a huge insurance liability.
And worse than that, so of course the principal, the vice principal, the chief of police,
everybody's there.
Everyone's there. I mean, the chief of police's daughter was in the play. I think she was actually downrange when I was firing. So here I am, the scene comes up, I fire the 6 shots real quick, and we had, the director wanted me to shoot a hat off a guy. Like, he had a big, like, top hat. He's like, can you shoot this off his head? I'm like, am I skilled enough? Yes. Am I dumb enough? No. So they actually, what happened was the guy knocked, when the first arrow went, he knocked his hat off and then went behind a prop piece and put a hat with an arrow on it. But it looked legit because these arrows are flying down range. So intermission comes, and we're resetting, and they have it. And it was like a 30-minute intermission. Like, you got popcorn, the actors went out, and you shook their hands and talked to them. Well, next thing I know, I'm putting my bow away, and I'm getting my the pieces set up for the next act, and like. The chief of police, the principal, the vice principal, the truancy officer, they're all like, okay, that was amazing. Like, what? Those were all like guided on a wire, right? I'm like, no, here's my bow. This is what I used to fire 6 rounds downrange. So did you actually hit the hat off of them? And I was just a young little shit. Like, I didn't know. I was like, you like my accuracy, huh? And they went 8 because here I am. And then eventually I quickly told them, no, that was just a stage trick to make it look like I shot the hat off them. I really didn't. It turned out 100% was not approved, was not a thing. The next play, actually, we were forbidden from the next night. Actually, we could not actually shoot. So I think we threw arrows across the stage.
Oh, that's less dangerous.
Well, I mean, they're not broad-headed arrows. They were actually, we foam tipped them. They were very safe arrows. And then apparently a meeting happened, and they said, yeah, the matinee show on Sunday, we could fire again. But yeah, the director afterwards, like the Monday morning, we're doing the strike, and he's like, so, here's the thing.
Well, you did the strikes on Mondays.
We did a semi-strike on Sunday.
Did it the night.
But like the actual packing everything up and putting it away proper, like, so the actors would help strike, but it's like, okay, just put those flats there, put this here, put that there, and then we came and actually cleaned it up. I think we got a half day, which was kind of cool to be on crew. We got a half day.
I'm pretty sure we had to do the strike, like everybody.
We strike the big stuff, and a couple times they'd have like, the next week was going to be the ensemble week, so we had to we spent all Sunday night cleaning up, of course.
I think we did. I think we always cleaned them on Sunday. I might be wrong though.
But yeah, needless to say, the director got in a shit ton of trouble. I got in a bit. I got a stern talking to. Luckily, the chief of police was a family friend. We got red light. We got 9 minutes left. So, needless to say, live fire was no longer available.
We didn't do anything like that. We had, so the play Anything Goes, maybe. And there's like this scene, and I don't know if this is everyone, maybe it was just us. So there's this scene where they climb up the stairs and they're doing this kind of like a dance on the stairwell, and they kind of have like a balcony. And okay, so ours is pit crew. They built that. And let's just say they didn't build it very well. And so the second night, The actors have been complaining about how dangerous this is and how they don't feel secure, like it doesn't feel safe.
Doesn't feel safe.
So they're up there. And one of my really good friends, John was his name, he was one of the leads. And he's up there, and they're at one point they're supposed to go like this and kind of like rock off of the banister. And he's up there and he's rocking. He was not a small guy. He wasn't huge, but he wasn't lightweight. And so he's rocking on it, and you can hear the snap. And so I don't know like exactly who tried to fix it, but you could tell that like it went. But it was fortunate that the actors kind of caught themselves. And so the actors and actresses, they all caught themselves. But so they all come down the stairs and they just continued with the show as normal. But two of the actors like never moved. Like they were like frozen in place, which was not where they were supposed to be because it's a musical. They all dance and do the, but they're like up there just kind of like rocking. Well, so when whatever broke, they were holding onto the rail, and they're the only reason that the rail didn't fall on the heads of everybody for the rest of the show. So they had lines that they were supposed to be saying, but they had to yell them from up there because even after intermission, they couldn't like move, like they couldn't fix it enough for them to come down. So they stayed up there the whole show.
See, and that's really funny because one of the reasons I was asked to join, well, I was first asked to join because I was a big, strong guy, and the girl who asked me, I kind of had a thing for. I was hoping to like lead on to a little extra. Never did, because I was an awkward, glasses wearing geek. But I knew construction really well, so the next play, I was put in charge of construction, and it's really funny because a lot of the actors and even the directors like, wow, this doesn't move. Oh, amazing! This actually like.
Oh yeah, ours were rocky. Holy crap! Yeah, they would just shake everywhere. But yeah, there's no OSHA for plays and musicals.
Right. Well, that's a couple people were like, yeah, no, that's now we actually feel safe doing because we did a multi-tier one the next time. Like, oh, this actually feels like it's legit. Like, well, it's built to construction standards. Like,
my sister was into the musicals, and she was in part in. So there was a trap door in her stage, and somebody had done something weird to it, and she actually fell down the trap door, and so
they wouldn't let us cut a trap door. We tried.
Oh, ours had a trap
tried
door. It was pretty cool. Ours had a full trap door, and so you could like. It actually led under the stage, which again, that ended up leading, if you followed it around, to the tunnels and everything else. So, like, we had this really intricate, like, little setup under the stage. But yeah, she fell down the trap door, and she didn't break her ankle, but I think she hurt her ankle pretty good. But yeah.
Well, with that, we only have a couple of minutes, 5 minutes it says on here before we're going to time out. So, kind of fun, memory lane. 20-year reunion, little secrets our parents should never find out. And yeah.
I didn't share secrets my parents don't already know.
That's a true story. I did a little bit, but
or at least not ones that I didn't.
I don't know if you knew. I don't know if my parents knew how much trouble I got in shooting the bow across stage. I think that kind of stayed a little low key. But any other concluders or things you want to include as we sign off here?
Not really. I've talked to a lot of people who are like, yeah, 20 years, yeah, okay. Like, they don't do, like, reunion either, so.
I was pissed I missed my 10-year. That was totally work and some other shit that was going on that I missed it, but.
I didn't get invited to mine. But mine missed it every 5 years. I'm like, really? 5 years? 5-year, 10-year, 15-year, 20-year? And I just now found out about it. And the only reason I even thought to look was because we heard about yours, and I'm like, I'll look on Facebook.
Right. Well, I do hope, I don't know if any of the people who ran our reunion